What's up, Rebels Come? We're going to be taking a look at some more additions to your cantina in the form of newly released figures. We have the Vintage Collection VC362 Momaw Nadon. It's been a while since, Nadon, I'm sorry. It's been a while since we've had a change to this figure. The last one was the Legacy Collection, which we'll be showing you that figure side by side so you can see the improvements. And then we have the VC381 Chewbacca from A New Hope. We'll be showing you this compared to the previous release of the Vintage Collection Chewbacca. There are some changes here, so you can see what's new, as well as this VC372 Han Solo A New Hope, a new issue of Han Solo. We'll be comparing him to the previous Vintage Collection Han Solo that came in that Special Action Figure 3 set. And then we'll also be checking out one of my favorite, the original, I think it was original Trilogy Collection version of Han Solo that came in a vintage style card back that kind of launched the Vintage Collection. So we'll be giving you different versions of these so you can see how he has changed throughout the years, as well as what is the best version for you to display in your cantina. So let's check it out. All right, little treat for you guys. Since my sound issues were kicking in, I had to re-record Han here, so I'm going to do him in the Streets of Mos Eisley because my table is filled with other trinkets while we're working on our second Cantina video. So right now we have this new Han Solo here. You can see this better likeness of Harrison Ford with the photorealistic paint on the face. He's got parted hair. The vest is not attached to him this time. It is separate. It's its own piece, which is a nice improvement over the previous model. And then we could see a little bit more detailing on the vest. You could see the strap on the leg here is kind of free floating on the thigh. It's its own independent strap, same with the belt. But let's take a little comparison back to our previous Vintage Collection Han Solo. Now from the Hero set, I think this was a Target exclusive. You can see the previous Han Solo here, if I get him to stand. You can see he's a lot thinner in his composition than the new version of Solo. The vest was sort of like molded onto him. He doesn't have the hair as free-flowing. The belt is completely a little bit smaller. You can see that this is not attached to the thigh, but the strap is there. It's kind of painted on. A little less detailing in the back there than the other vest and the belt and everything. So a nice improvement over the previous Vintage Collection one. I want to say that one was 2011, but I could be wrong. It came out a while ago though. So maybe not 2011. I'm sorry, this would have been closer to 2017 or 2018. So it's a little while ago. I wanted to say 2011 for some reason. I'm probably entirely wrong, but he's been out for a while, this previous Hero Collection Han Solo. But this is a massive improvement, I think, over that version. Now, I'll show you my favorite for a while has been the original Trilogy Collection precursor to the Vintage Collection Han Solo, which is right here. He, at the time, had an independent vest, so it was better than the Vintage Collection version. I think the hair was a little better. The downside was the blaster was like molded to the hip in the holster, as opposed to having at least a little free flowing, as you see in the Vintage Collection one there on the left. So this version had that going against it, but I think it looked a little bit better in terms of the body for Han Solo than the Vintage Collection one did. This new one is a massive improvement over both of these guys, though. So, I mean, this is definitely the best Han you could have for your cantina or for your Mos Eisley displays. Definitely an improvement. I like him here. I think he looks sharp, and he's going to look really good in that cantina booth. So here is our new version of Chewbacca. You can see he's quite tall, which is a problem for keeping him in frame here. The bigger changes you're going to see in a moment are on the hips, but he still has his blaster, he still has his pouch, he still has everything about him here. Here is the last issue release in the Vintage Collection. I just showed you the card back for that a moment ago. You can see one. Let's look all the way down to the feet. The feet are a little bit bigger, clunkier, hairier. These look more like feet with fur on them. He's a little lankier overall, which Chewbacca kind of was. He wasn't stocky. He was very lean. You can see the expression, a little bit more of a closed mouth. 95% of the time in the film, his mouth is shut. But every single action figure, for the most part, has a screaming mouth. I feel like it's 95% of action figures. You have a very few that don't have a screaming Chewbacca. You can see the fur is painted a little bit differently. You can see this part here crest down a little bit more, but if you look at the hips, he's got this sort of bigger plate here in the middle, whereas his is much thinner. It's a very thin sort of frame there in the hip joint to make it a little bit narrower, and I think that that was the bigger improvement over the figure, and it makes him look a little taller and leaner. And I think he is a little bit taller. I mean, look at that. He's almost like a finger taller. So he definitely is a little taller. So that is your major difference between these Chewbaccas. Oh, a little bit of an improvement. It is a different figure. It is not the same exact thing, just recarded. So something to consider. Let's check out Momaw Nadon. And here's our new Ithorian Momaw Nadon, our latest take on this guy. He's got a cloth bottom skirt, which is good for helping him sit. He's got these more detached tassels here, and he's got his standard look to him. Comes with a cup. He comes with this, I don't know, staff, which I have no idea why. He comes with an E11 blaster rifle, a standard stormtrooper issue, and then he comes with this special blaster as well as a second hand for holding weapons as opposed to a cup holding hand for holding a cup. Now let's look at the previous release of him, and this was right here. I think this was a Legacy collection. I could be wrong. And essentially he came with everything you see here, which is his little stand for his cup, a cup, his staff again, which this looks almost like it's the same thing, just repainted, the new one that you get with him. This weird little podium for some reason, but he also comes with a glass as well. But you can see him side by side. The newer version, I think, is roughly the same height, but it gives you those like free-floating tassels here. He has this cloth skirt. He has the pouches a little bit more size appropriate. Everything is just a little bit more refined for the vintage collection, which makes sense as opposed to the previous release. But this was a pretty solid release for a long time, except it didn't have articulating legs. You could have bent these. So that was kind of annoying for getting him in a booth. But now we do have articulating legs. He'd be great in our Cantina display. You might have seen him already in our video. But the other fun thing is, let's go all the way back to the Power of the Force 2 figure. I think this was either 97, maybe 98. This Power of the Force 2 Momaw Nadon, our first issuance of him since the original collection, the vintage collection. And you notice the blaster there is this. So they kind of, Hasbro brought it back. I mean, that was the only time we've ever got that blaster. He came with this E11 blaster during the Kenner issuance of him originally, and then he came with this during the second Kenner issuance of him and the Power of the Force 2 collection. So he has both his classic weapons. That's kind of fun that Hasbro did that, and it was a little throwback to Momaw Nadon over the years. But these are actually all the versions of this figure made in the modern era. The only exception would be the Kenner version, the first time of the original, the vintage collection. But since the line was reissued in Power of the Force 2 in 1995, these are all the versions of this character that exist. So you can see this is somewhat of an improvement. This was a great character for many, many years. He was really good. The quality of this really held up, I think, all the way into the vintage collection era. So nice update. Appreciate the ability to articulate and bend the legs and put him in a booth. But that is your Momaw Nadon. All right, so to recap, we got 3 new additions for the Cantina and the Return to Mos Eisley segment from Hasbro. We got kind of a slight update for Chewbacca here, a big update, I think, for Han, and another really large update for Momaw Nadon. He can sit. So that's always great. So these 3 are all available right now. You get them on Big Bad Toy Store, where I have links for you. They'll help staff out that Cantina. We'll be doing a video very soon of our finished Cantina, where we have all the additions we were talking about making in our first Cantina video. So we did our lighting. We did our additional booths that were missing. We did some customization for characters, and we did some other really amazing things that we'll be able to show off very soon with these 3 guys featured in there as well. So tune back for that. Tune back for more. Like, subscribe, and follow for more Star Wars news and reviews. And until next time, stay vigilant, you Rebel scum.